Hey y'all, and welcome to Politabrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Homan delivers the scathing truth about how Trump is successful at the southern border and where Joe Biden completely missed the mark. Let's dive in.
Mr. Homan,
are you
the
tracking
Abrego
any?
Garcia case? What is your response to the judge accusing the administration of bad faith and willful noncompliance?
Bad faith. We removed an MS-13 gang member, public safety threat, wife beater, designated terrorist from the United States. He's home. He's a citizen of El Salvador, a native El Salvador, who had due process, despite what you're hearing, been ordered removed by two separate immigration judges. The best that could happen for him, if he actually gave back to the United States, he would be detained and removed again, because he has an order of deportation. And what people don't talk about, the withholding order they keep saying was the mistake or oversight, was issued years ago under different circumstances. The gang he was afraid would attack him no longer exists. The country of El Salvador is a much safer country because of the actions of President Bukele. I don't think any court can order another nation, a sovereign nation, to take a citizen and national from their country and their custody and give them back to the U.S. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'll let DOJ argue this in court. But I think we removed a public safety threat, gang member, designated terrorist from the United States who had been ordered deported twice by a federal judge. I think I got plenty of due process. He got more due process than Laken Riley got.
The administration, or the Supreme Court rather, says the administration must facilitate his return.
Okay.
Will the administration facilitate his return?
I'm not. I'll leave that out to the Department of Justice and the State Department. I think I stand by. We did the right thing for the safety and security of this country. We removed the terrorists. Just like the two plane loads that all of a sudden everybody's saying we violated a court order. These are two plane loads of terrorists that were international waters. Again, I'm not litigating the case. I'm not an attorney. I'll let DOJ handle it. But again, I think we're keeping President Trump's promise to American people who voted him into office on number one issue, secure the border, and remove public safety threats and national security threats. So that's what we keep doing. I find it incredible that there's all this push for more due process, more process for these designated terrorists, when in fact no one asked for due process when they crossed the border. No one asked for vetting when they crossed the border. Where was all the media? Where were a lot of you all folks when 10.5 million people came to the border and you're silent? Where were a lot of these folks when they had a 600% increase in sex trafficking of women and children? Where was everybody when we had 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl that come to that open border? Where was all the anger then? Where was all the press then? But now they enter the country legally against legal process, and now they demand legal process. It's just ridiculous how this has come full circle. And I think President Trump's doing the right thing. This country's much safer today. I looked at the numbers today. We're about 68,000 illegal aliens arrested in the interior United States, a hell of a lot more than Biden administration ever thought of doing. And a vast majority being criminal alien threats. This country's a lot safer. New York City's a lot safer today because of the operations we did up there. Arresting public safety threats and national security threats. Every time we arrest one of these people, remove them, the country gets that much safer. President Trump secured the border in a matter of 7 weeks. Today, as I'm talking to you, we had the most secure border in the history of this nation. Data proves it. He did in 7 weeks what the Biden administration couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. This president is keeping his promise to American people. I'm happy. I walk in here every day working for the greatest president of my lifetime because I spent over 40 years doing immigration enforcement and border security. We've never been where we're at right now. The most secure border in the history of this nation right now. Lives are being saved every day. Migrant lives under Joe Biden. Over 4,000 illegal aliens died making this journey to the United States. How is that humane? That's an historic record. And again, 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl. How is that humane? They want to say our administration is inhumane. We're not giving due process. We're saving lives by the thousands every day. The wall, everybody's screaming and yelling about the wall going up. Every place we built a border barrier, illegal immigration went down. Illegal drug flow went down. But you know what no one talks about? The wall saves lives. Women and children can't get over that wall. So that means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the border patrol who's going to deal with those health issues and a humanitarian crisis. Walls save lives. Just secure borders saves lives.
Y'all, this is what empathy actually looks like. It's not the, oh, having a bleeding heart for all the people who are going through a tough time. No, it's by having good boundaries, a good border wall, and good border policy to ensure that A, the cartels aren't overrunning the whole area and abusing people and trafficking them often into what is essentially human slavery. Again, that's something that the mainstream media doesn't ever want to talk about, except when occasionally they sneak it into a New York Times article just to say that, oh, we're actually talking about this. But it doesn't get the outrage on the left for some very weird reason. You'd think that the people who scream about empathy all the time would be talking about this issue. You'd think that the people that care about due process would be talking about this issue. Except they can't, they don't, and they won't. The Democrat Party has decided it's going to go full crazy, full woke on the situation, and refuse to deal with the very people that are misusing our border policies and abusing human lives in order to make a profit to send them over here. And then they don't care when businesses hire them at lower rates. The left used to care about this. Democrats used to care about this. They don't care about American workers. They don't care about American labor anymore. And that's why their party is disintegrating. And then, if you want to compare apples to oranges here, in the case of the Trump administration, the numbers are going down drastically. Folks, what Tom Homan is saying here is the absolute truth. The border crossings are down. People are not dying in the same numbers that they were under the Biden administration. I wasn't able to find good information on those numbers because that's still kind of murky and that data is still being collected. But the reality is when people are trafficked over our southern border, they're doing so in basically carts for horses. They're put into these small confined areas. They pack them in like sardines and they ship them over the border in hot, disgusting conditions. And then they're released out into America and told, good luck. Oh, by the way, here's a tattoo on your arm to identify you. If that doesn't sound a little bit, Auschwitz-y to you, I don't know what does. Okay? That's the sad reality of the situation, and the Trump administration is trying to put a stop to it. And, by the way, we're seeing drastic drops in illegal immigration. And here's a great example. Only 54 illegal immigrants were apprehended last month in the Swanton sector, which stretches more than 300 miles. And then this is a drastic 95% drop from more than 1,000 border crossings that were caught in March of 2024. And by the way, this is also one of the big hotspot areas for illegal immigration. So it's safe to say that things are getting better. Nature is healing. We're actually getting people the justice they deserve because we are no longer allowing that human trafficking violations to exist and then abuse the American immigration system. This is a good thing. We are basically ensuring that people are not abusing a system. We're ensuring that the cartels aren't making money, and we're ensuring the fact that people who are crossing our border illegally aren't put in harm's way. Remember, Tom Homan often talks about the times that he has held people passing on to the next life in his arms. I can believe that story. A man who has been on the force since '84, 40 years of experience, I'm willing to believe him when he comes to that. And I'm willing to believe these numbers as well. This makes sense. Under the Biden administration, there was basically a open door policy, for lack of a better phrase. People in the Department of Justice refused to deal with the immigration problem. The Department of Homeland Security had Alejandro Mayorkas, who was specifically tasked with abusing his own system, sending money to places that didn't need it to give lip service. And then the moment the poll numbers came in last summer, the Biden administration realized they had to make a complete 180-degree turn and change the way that they did policy at the southern border. Well, too little, too late. That's one of the big reasons Trump won this recent election. It's why the DNC coalition is falling apart at the seams, and it's why Republicans are making so many vast gains in Latino, Black communities, pretty much anyone who has realized that they've been given a raw deal by the Democrats. This is the wonderful thing about the American binary system, where there's essentially only two parties able to work the system, and the party that has screwed everything up since you were locked down for months in your own home is starting to reap the issues. They're starting to reap the consequences. The chickens are coming home to roost. Except in the fact that on our southern border, the chickens aren't coming home to roost. They're not crossing the border anymore. This is a huge win and one of the biggest crown jewels of Trump's early administration here in round 2. And this deserves a little bit more credence. This deserves more praise and celebration. But the mainstream media can't do it because rich white liberals look at this and think that's a bad thing. They look at the Abreu Garcia case and care more about the paperwork problem than they do about the legal immigration problem. This is a losing message for them. It's a winning message for Trump. And folks have seen right through the facade that the Democrats have been selling. They're now seeing the results of good Republican common sense administrations. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.